And in this two-part video, I'm going to explain the best way to get started as a loan broker in this profession. And also what is to us loan brokers the holy grail, right? How do we get good quality leads consistently? Now, this is something that I'm asked quite a lot, but before I get into this and talk about the best way to get these leads in, what I actually want to first focus on is consistency, because this is where most brokers go wrong, and this is what causes most to actually stay broke, right? Consistency dictates where you go to get the leads and how you actually go and get them. Because if we aren't producing that lead flow consistently, we're not going to make money consistently, if at all. And as I say, that's where a lot of brokers actually go wrong, and they actually get attached to the deal. So what do I mean by that? Well, what basically happens is you put all this effort in and you've got this deal coming in, and you think this is a great one, we can get this thing funded, right? And by the way, there's no such thing as a slam dunk. There's so many variables that will go into a deal funding. It's an impossible scenario. You can't predict everything, but they'll get this deal in. And they're going to put everything that they've got into getting this deal funded. And so they're going to, they might put it to the lender they're actually signed up with, or they might shop it around to different lenders, or post in a ton of different Facebook groups saying, hey, who can help me with this deal? Or try and JV with people. You get what I'm trying to say. They'll do a lot of things to get this deal funded. And ultimately, very, very slim chance they may fund it. But ultimately, they're likely going to make nothing. And so you put all this time in, and at the end of it, you've got no money, but you've now got no pipeline. There's nothing else going on. There is no consistency of deal flow, and there's no consistency of earning. And if you're a new broker, you've likely been in this situation before. I know I went through that. And so what we actually need then is a consistent lead flow supply, where we can get into what we call stacking deals. Stacking deals is amazing because we're not really bothered about what deal funds. We're just focused on building a pipeline, a solid funding pipeline. And so in this situation, we're actually, we can sleep easy knowing that we've got this growing pipeline that has so many deals in it that something has to fund, right? And from that, we're going to make money, and we're going to get that consistently. And the bigger we stack the deals, the bigger that pile, the bigger the pipeline, the more money we're going to start making. So it's a really straightforward thing to do. Most don't do it, but it's vital if you want consistency of income and you want scalable income. So let's get into this. So the first thing I'm going to sort of walk through is what you should not be doing when you are starting out. This is what most people actually do. And actually, if you look, you might have spent some time on YouTube already. There's lots of different videos promoting what you should do. And they say a lot of this stuff. Buying leads, don't do it. They are always trash. Okay, never trust anybody else other than you to develop your lead flow. Okay, don't buy leads in. Don't get into paid advertising. No matter what everyone says about it being amazing and everything else, the reality of that thing is it needs a lot of money, and I'm talking thousands of dollars monthly, okay, and also expertise to make it profitable. You cannot expect to get in there as a beginner, just go through some sort of course, put a few $100 in there and expect that to start making you money. It does not work like that. And if you don't believe what I'm saying, just spend a bit of time in some Facebook groups, just see what other people are talking about. You'll see it's a very common thing to do. Don't get into paid advertising. Do not buy leads. The other thing I would definitely advise against, despite what you might kind of hear, is cold calling. It obviously can work, but again, it's like anything else. You do need experience and skill at it. And the reality of it is, it's extremely inefficient when you can compare that to other techniques that you can actually use. So don't get into cold calling. The other thing again is don't get into local business meets, despite what you might have been told. You're really only going to access low-level leads, which means the funding requirements are low, which means your commission is very low. But most of the time, they're just not going to be fundable anyway, right? So just don't waste your time. The other thing to say is don't get into credit repair. This is something that's kind of promoted as like, it's the great way to actually monetize your lead flow. And I really don't understand that. You can make money at it, don't get me wrong. It's all fine. You've got to have a lot of systems in place. And it's the scenario where you're spending money on advertising, right? And this is the reality. Most of your lead flow will be trash. So what they say is, well, you can monetize that and make some money out of the trashy lead flow. And you can, but my whole kind of viewpoint on this is that you don't even need to go anywhere near that. I mean, I certainly didn't get into broking because I wanted to start making my money helping people repair their credit repair, right? On the basis that some of those might then come back to me for a loan. The reality is, even if they are coming back for a loan, we're looking at small numbers and it's small commissions. And for me, that wasn't really what interested me and certainly my partner. So we went down a different route and developed these organic methods. So my advice is, don't waste your time on credit repair, because unless you're spending thousands of dollars again in ad spend, that isn't going to amount up to anything meaningful as a return. The other thing I say is SBAs, SBA loans take too long, just not worth getting into. You want to get into consistency of deal flow and consistency of earning. Reduce that runway that you're going to need to start actually making money. So, doing any or all of the above will just end up really with you just wasting your time and money. So what do we do instead? Well, we want to be getting into the mindset of playing the long game, okay? And I just want to kind of tap into that a bit more. The reality is, again, despite what you might see out there online, you should not be getting into this if you're in it for quick wins. You have to build things out. You have to learn the things you're going to need to know to make money. And that stuff just takes time. This profession, despite what you might have already seen, is not easy. It takes that knowledge and it takes skill. And that stuff doesn't just happen. You're going to have to work at it, and you're going to have to push through those tough times. You will never find a successful broker who hasn't experienced some sort of pain on their journey to that success. And so with that said, you're going to need to allow at least 12 weeks of hustle, really just to get things moving from a standing start. And that really is just the beginning, My personal journey, I didn't fund my first deal until I was 8 months in, and that was a very, very painful beginning. Now, the reality is, we have a community now where we train this stuff, and it doesn't need to take that long. This is why I say 12 weeks is a good runway to start building up deal flow, and getting some stuff funded. But very rarely do I meet people who factor in the time it actually takes to simply learn and understand things. Lots want it all now, and they're almost always the ones who stay broke until they realise that isn't the way to do it. So if you want quick wins, carry on daydreaming about the success you think you're going to get. You ain't going to get it if that's how your mind's actually working. No one successful made it because they went after quick wins. It's absolute BS, so please don't get sucked in by it. Now, that said, if you do want to do this and you are going to take this seriously, the rewards are amazing for those that play the long game. So in summary there, focus on building out your knowledge first, right? How do we do that? Best place to go, pick a finance product, pick a niche. Now, I've said this one a number of times before, but don't go out there and try and be all things to all people. That we get into this mindset of thinking that we're going to miss out, right? And it's absolutely the wrong way to do things. You're not going to make a lot of money if you do it, if at all, to be frank. Instead, what you need to focus on is becoming the specialist and the expert. And it's going to make things so much easier for you. It's just plain dumb going after everything. Don't do it. So once we've understood the niche and the market that we want to go after, how do we take that deeper? How do we start to get into that knowledge gain that I'm talking about? Well, this is where we need to understand the audience that we're choosing. So who are they? What are their problems? If you're going after business owners, you need to understand their businesses like they do. Now, why do we want to do that? Well, because most time business owners get funding, they're doing it because of a problem that the business has. And if you're specialised, those problems are transferable. They're common. They're transferable across the other businesses within that marketplace. Okay? So understanding the business at that level means that you can have a very different conversation to the usual, and I am sort of generalising here, but you're going to see what I'm saying here. I'm a broker and I can help you get funded. Do you want it? Type of conversation. Very, very high level. It's what I call a surface level conversation. It doesn't allow you to take things further, and it's what most of your clients receive, right? Versus turning it into something like, I help the type of business owners that you're looking to help solve the problem that is common across those business types by accessing the funding product that you're promoting, that you're actually specializing in. Now, that type of conversation is going to develop a far deeper relationship with your client than the first. It's also going to create a scenario where you own the relationship. I call it relationship ownership, because they're going to come to you and only you for funding. They see that you're credible. They see that you're talking and presenting yourself very differently to your competition. Okay, so they're going to come to you. The result of that is going to be higher conversion ratios. 3 to 4% is the market norm. And I just think that's ridiculous. Like, why would we do that for such a low conversion ratio? And believe me, it's way off what it can actually be if you do it in the way that I'm suggesting. So get that knowledge out, understand your audience, who are they, understand the problems, And then you want to start to work out, how am I going to go and target these people? So where do your audience hang out? Now, you need to know where you need to go and get them, right? If you know exactly what their problems are, where do you need to go and get them? So think about where they hang out, both online and offline. Now, I'm not going to sort of walk through how you do all of that. That's another bunch of training, and that's the sort of stuff that we help our people in the community with. But what I will say is just do your research. And I'm going to say it again. Do your research. So many people just don't bother with this. And the simple fact is, in today's world, we've got Google and we've got YouTube. There is zero excuse not to understand this before we start out on lead generation. So please build your knowledge first. And then when we've done all of that, we can then go and start lead generation. So we're not doing any paid advertising. We're not buying any leads and that sort of stuff. So how are we doing it? Well, we're going to use organic methods. These are free. That's the main thing. The only thing that requires as an investment is a bit of time. But the great thing about organic methods is they are laser targeted, which means that we can circumnavigate a lot of the issues that we get into with regards to why deals don't fund. We just go into the good stuff. So we're either going to be working with real estate investors, which is what we do a lot of, or business owners and the established business owners, right? So when they want funding, they've got the boxes ticked in terms of them being able to get it, but also the amounts they require are a lot higher. So the first option is go and get their email and direct email them using a sequence. Right? Don't just use one email, use a sequence of emails to ensure you're increasing your conversion ratios. But please don't write some crappy email to them. Again, just doing what most people do. I'm a broker, I help with funding, do you want it type of thing. You're going to get very little responses, right? Use what you know of their pains and problems to set yourself apart, because any business owner with a brain will recognize the value in having someone like that in their network. So even though you might not get a lead there and a client that wants funding, you're going to have a potential solid client for the future. And that person can also become a great referral source. So if you work like this, you can easily get referrals without ever having done any business with the person. And referrals are an amazing thing to have, because they're often going to refer people that are like them, good quality people. And if they need funding, it's done, right? Done deal. Option 2, good old-fashioned postal mail. Very few people do this anymore because of this new digital age that we're in, but it still works, and it's actually even better than paid advertising because it costs very little and you can be super targeted with the people that you send your letters to. Okay, so with this, don't do any of those fancy marketing tricks. Don't put sort of snazzy pictures in the letter and all that sort of stuff. Just use good quality paper and write a good quality sales letter. And again, Google and YouTube if you don't know how to do that stuff. Everything you ever need to know is out there, right? Send 100 of these letters out, because that's a very good sample size to start building out your statistics, what's working, what's not. And I promise you, if you do that right, you will get leads and they will be top quality, right? And then option 3, option 4, option 5 and more. Well, for that, guys, you've got to join our community. We obviously teach all of this stuff from a standing start, exactly what you need to do all of the aspects of being a broker, to actually make money consistently. We teach all of that stuff. We're brokers too, and we just share everything that we know that works. So, feel free to schedule a call with me. There's a link below this video. I like to speak to everybody and help as many people as I can. And obviously, if you're interested in the program, I'm happy to talk more about that and actually show you. I'll show you what you get into, how it all works, and you can make a decision from there. But guys, with that said, for those of you wondering how to get good quality leads in, I've literally just given you the high level steps to follow. If I was starting again, I would do it exactly the way that I have just suggested to do. I've learned the mistakes and it's been painful. You really don't need to go to do that. Final thing, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and please leave a comment below the video. And with that said, guys, in this this COVID-19 pandemic that we're going through, please stay safe and healthy. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.